things that I do that embody it, to pull forth the state of being that you already are in the moment, and then go throughout your day. How about find security before you get the job? How about find happiness now and then go on vacation? How about find peace before we retire? Because it's all designed for a state of being. Everything that we're doing, that the mind is trying to set up is for a state of being, as if that state of being is somewhere else. So if we let the mind take over, it's usually going to carry us in the current of limitation and fear and doubt. But if we let the heart take over, it'll want to embody the truth. It's very simple. If you want to know if you're in the mind, you're loud. Everything's loud. It's busy. It's loud. If you want to know if you're in the heart, everything is easy. Like a single word is easy. It only takes one word to get you to the sun. But the mind wants to try to hang on to all the rays of light to get to the sun, and it complicates it. The heart says just take one and follow it all the way to the sun. It's simple. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Malani Meditation Podcast. I am your host, Malani. I am here today with Luisa and Sergio. They are two that have been working with me for a little while, and I think we're all excited because this is my first podcast where I'm on screen. So here I am. Hi, everybody. Nice to meet you. And here, I'll let these two introduce themselves.
My name is Sergio, and I've been working with Malani for about 10 years, and really about the last 3 years on a deeper level. And I'm just grateful to be here and being able to talk about these deep subjects.
Hi, I'm Luisa. Thank you for having me, Sergio and Malani, and I'm very excited to be here. And I'm very passionate about growth in ourselves, and I'm also very passionate about wellness and anything that can make any human being better. So I'm so happy to be here because I've been learning so much within this whole transition that I've had. I've been in the corporate industry for over 15 years, so this is something that I've always been doing, but now I'm doing it all the way, and I'm very happy about that.
I'm happy that you're both here and very grateful for being able to become friends with you two. And you are also both very passionate about emotional healing, and because you're getting a better understanding of what that is, how our lives are created around these trapped emotions, and how we can evolve and stabilize ourselves and become more of the vessel of peace in this very inconsistent world of fear and doubt. So those are the kind of things that we would like to talk about, and how we can make transitions in our own bodies and in our own, making the shifts into this more tranquil way of being in a state of equanimity and balance. So these questions that they're going to ask me, I have no idea what they're going to be. I like it to be authentic and stay connected and into my truth. And I do have these certain gifts that I allow them to come through. And that's why we are here today. And I would like to leave it up to y'all to, see if you can find some questions that would be helpful for the audience.
I guess I just was wondering, do you normally think that, is it the one doing the work is the healer, or do we heal because of somebody who's helping us find, like you said, the truth?
Right.
Because that's kind of like we tend to put so many people in a pedestal, and so I think the whole thing is is it them, or they are guiding us, or is it one itself that is actually the healer?
Well, it's kind of a broad question because, if you go in there to go to a doctor and, you go in there and they give you the
Medication, diagnostic.
yeah, all the things, and then you get better, you'll say, "Oh, the doctor healed me." But if somebody is not willing and open to the state of healingness, they won't actually heal. The person who is, we'll say, that has cancer, the person who has cancer, and if it just goes to somebody to be healed and doesn't have the right intention or doesn't believe in what they're doing and doesn't make the connection or has the willingness to go through the process, will probably continue to be sick. So in that aspect, that the person who's got the cancer is the healer. But we're not the actual ones that heal, because healing is something that is very human, because we think that we're broken. We don't look at ourselves as perfection. We don't look at what's happening as perfection and imperfection. Everything is perfect. There is actually nothing to heal. In this physical world, it feels that way because we're in a broken reality. We're telling ourselves the wrong messages. So that puts us in a broken reality where we catch cancer, where we get sick, where we have emotional anxiety and stuff like that. But in reality, we are not. So, but in order to get to these healing frequencies, it is up to the person who is holding the anxiety, the person who's holding the cancer, to reconnect to the truth, reconnect to that higher self. And when somebody makes the connection, there are people that will guide us into it. So there are people, and a lot of times those people take responsibility as, I did this. I did it. But there's no way anybody could heal you without your consent, without your connection, without you making a space available, without you believing that it can happen, without your connecting to the truth or the perseverance of going through the process. You are an important vessel, but once you make the connection and allow it to happen, the guidance and the truth coming in will all come together to make that healing event happen. Because it's just, you're moving, if everything's in, there's multiple layers to who we are. There's a version of you that has blonde hair, and it all exists at the same time. It's endless. If you are have cancer, there is a reality with you exists that doesn't have cancer. And it's a matter of moving into that reality, because they are all existing right now. So it's making certain connections and getting into the spiritual heart where the truth comes from. Does it feel good or does it not feel good? Does it feel out of alignment or does it feel right? And moving into it. But there are things that we don't quite understand, that many don't understand, and there are people that have gone through certain things that can guide us into healing. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
No, totally. That's somewhat funny that you said that about me being blonde and with blonde hair, and because my husband said something earlier, it was yesterday, said I was not feeling well, and he's like, "Oh, you look so pretty today," and I was like, he's like, "You always look the prettiest when you feel aligned." And I love that he said that, because it's true. I do feel like I have dark hair now. This is me. This is my natural hair, and it's just, I've been feeling more aligned of who I am, even how I dress, and I don't think I've ever felt this way before. And that's so beautiful that you said that, and I think that goes with everything, right?
It does go with everything. When we're in our own truth, everything is, actually the divine is so simple. But we're the ones that complicate it. We complicate it so much with the mind consciousness. We think that we have to earn a state of peace. And I talk about it all the time, management versus embodiment. We can go, that's another subject, and we can go into it. Would you like to ask any questions?
Yeah, I'm interested in the aspects of kind of the mind. You know, we live in a world where it's so mind heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there's a lot of people that are suffering because they're so identified with the mind. And the mind is like a tricky thing, right? Because it's like 99.9% what we think is actually not real. It's just a thought
It is.
complex, right? It's a thought structure. What techniques or things can people do to alleviate the mind?
Well, there's a lot of techniques that we can do, and that's a lot of what I teach. And I have these certain abilities and gifts and that I've been given through my practice. I've been meditating like 40 years, and meditation came very easy to me. And but you know, as a child, I had a very different growing up. I was hearing a lot of voices and a lot of things that not the average kid goes through, and I thought it was everybody went through this, but it became very clear that it wasn't normal. And I think that's why I came into meditation. So it was a necessity. And there's a lot of things that we can go over through the time, but it would be really complicated to lay them all out right here, right now. So as we go along in these podcasts, we can talk about some of the tools that I have, and I'm actually creating an online retreat for to introduce some of those. That's going to come out in January 1st. And
We can't wait to hear all about it.
That sounds awesome.
well, you're going to be involved, so.
Sure.
So it's most, a lot of it, some of the gifts I've been given is vibrational healing, and basically the body is, everything is made of vibration, everything. Frequency and vibration. And I truly believe in the future of healing will be around vibrational healing. Because why not heal the vibration of something? Why not bring in a dense vibration that is in the body, trapped in the environment, and bring it into light? It's not about getting rid of something. We don't want to get rid of something because it is a piece of us. It's a part of us. There's a vibration in our body. And there's actually no place for it to go. It's because it's all the one. You know, if you had a cloth right here and you picked it up in the middle and picked it up, the whole cloth comes. You can't remove something. So it's only about shifting the reality of a trapped emotion. So sadness carries a certain frequency in the body. And it gets trapped in there because we keep suppressing it. We keep personalizing it. Anytime you feel that sadness and you start to cry, what is actually happening is that frequency is attempting to harmonize itself. So it starts to display it in the body. But we've been taught to be ashamed of it, and we try to hide it because we don't want people to see us crying. And we also say things that personalize, like, I'm sad. I am is the most powerful thing. Whatever follows I am is our biggest creation. So when the sadness starts to come up, we either try to tuck it down so we know people don't see us crying, or we personalize it and say, I'm feeling sad. And then that reestablishes that sadness. So it just keeps on a circle. It just keeps going. But if we allow ourselves to normalize emotion, then we will. This is where true healing starts. Because all these dense emotions that we're carrying is what's creating the illnesses that we have, the anxiety and everything is really what it comes down to. Is that our trapped vibrational dense energies are creating so much, and if we bring harmony to those, then we're going to bring the body into wholeness. It's like, like I heard somebody using it, a description of it as an orchestra, like the violinist being out. And then once one violinist is out of tune, the whole body, the whole orchestra is out of tune. It's the same thing. Like we have all these dense emotions in the body. And the Malani practices that he's putting in his meditations, and there's a lot more that I do other than just the vibration. The YouTube channel that I have is just I know that I'm supposed to share the vibration. I haven't told anybody really what the vibration is, but really what it is that vibration is coming in. It's not from me, it's through me. And I went through this whole process of healing through vibration before I even started the YouTube channel. I just started making this vocal vibration one day, and I didn't know what it is, but I'm just in meditation and meditating hours every day, and it just started coming through. And didn't know what it was, but I realized real quickly that I was going through a purge, an emotional purge. And the emotional purge I was going through was intense. I was crying some days. I was like, there was like emotional, like, it wasn't real, like I was throwing up matter. I was like, it was like energetic throwing up. And sometimes screaming, primal screaming. It's like all these emotions were coming up, and I was getting hit with a strong vibration. I felt it in my body very powerfully.
What would you feel when you release some of that stuff, though? What did that feel like?
Well, as this frequency was going through my body, I realized, like, oh, I'm releasing emotion. I'm purging the body. And I could have easily stayed with that. You know, I could have easily just said, you know, oh, this is just too much. But I had the intuition, because wherever the vibration was coming from was also feeding me what it is, you know, and I realized what it is. And so each time as I release something, I wouldn't even say releasing, as I harmonize something in the body, there is a massive state. It's like you're getting rewarded with like a pure joy. Many times I would just break out and just laughter because I was so joyful. Or many times I would have a different kind of cry where it's just because I was in so much peace and bliss. And this just went on for a while, years, you know, and it started to really stabilize the body. I kept meditation up. I did a lot of sacred heart work, which is not the heart chakra, but this area right here, which I find is the most important part to work on right here, because this is our stability. This is what many people want to go here to the third eye or the crown and bypass the most important thing, you know, because what are we going to do when we open the third eye and we're still not established in a state of peace? It's just going to enhance, not connecting with. It's going to enhance the traumas and everything else that we haven't harmonized. So everybody gets in a hurry, and we just want to go through the wrong chakras and play around with the upper chakras. But I guarantee you, when we harmonize, we get this balance and start opening our hearts and start thinking from our hearts first, we're going to come into stability. So there is a lot that comes from emotional healing to harmonizing that body and light. It's like when we bring these denser emotions into light, that's what we call becoming whole. Because each one that comes into light, the more and more whole we become, and we come back to the light body.
So would you say these densities that are in the body, these denser emotions, are they just trapped emotions from the past that wasn't harmonized?
Ooh, I like that.
Well, I mean, it's funny you say the past, because there is no past really, because we focus on the past a lot. We focus on past lives. We focus on the past a lot. But in reality, all you need to know is you have a trapped emotion now. It's active. That's all you need to pay attention to. Don't try to go back and figure out why it's in there, because it only gives it more energy. We make real what we pay attention to. But the human mind has to figure out things. They think they need to know why it's in there.
Why do you think we're wired to, like, dwell on the past? Is that because, like he said, do you think it'd be because, like, I think, were you trying to say, like, in the ancient past ancestors or something like that?
Or like, I don't know, if something happened to you as a child and you had some kind of trauma come up, you know, and you never really got to release it or harmonize it, then it's something that kind of makes your character in some aspect, you know. Those are harsher, more like deep-rooted things, right? But then there's like little things, maybe like, you know, you weren't able to speak up in front of your family or something. It's just smaller things that maybe you weren't able to express in the moment. That's what I was trying to get at more than anything else.
I get it, and I mean, I understand how we all been taught to think, and that's just what it is. We've been taught to think. And reality is, what else would the mind want? The mind only can use the past and a known reality. That's all it can pull from. So if you're in your mind, you want to go to the past and sort it out, because the mind wants to sort things out. The heart wants to embody the truth. You don't need to go anywhere to embody the truth. You are the love. You are the light. You are the joy. It's about embodiment. But we are taught to manage our ways into something, as we have to earn a state of peace. We have to earn it. And it's just, think about through our lives, and even the circle of life, our big life here. We're born, and we immediately have to go through a process in order to earn peace at retirement. We have to go get the right schooling. We have to get the right job. We have to get the right family and the partner and make everything just right. And we have to grow it up, and then at the end of our lives, then we get to retire in peace. But is that what's happening? Are our elderly all in a state of bliss?
No.
And they're in the same mind trap and struggling with the same things as we ever did, because we never learned to stop managing an embodiment. And then you have the smaller days of your life, where we are earning our peace every day. We have checklists that we have to get through. We have to wake up with a certain way and start hitting the ground running. We have to shower at a certain, everything is about, you know, checklists and how to get to a certain place. And then at the end of the day, maybe we can relax after we get everything done. That's management. Embodiment is just doing what we do when we're creating problems for ourselves. So what we usually do is we use our imagination to see what could go wrong in our days, and so that we maybe can prevent it if we just can imagine all the possible scenarios of what could go wrong. What could go wrong at work? What could go wrong in the house if I don't get everything just right? This could happen, this could happen, this could happen. Oh my God, if I don't get the laundry done, we won't have clothes or anything like that. It's about using our imagination to see what could go wrong. And none of it's happened yet. But we're setting up our days in a really negative way. Instead of using our imagination and creating a scenario where we can pull forth peace, because things don't give us joy. We are the joy. There are occasions that pull joy forth because we are the joy. Like, we don't have to wait for a vacation to feel happiness, but we generally do. We have to earn our way to a vacation to feel happiness. So that is earning something. That's earning our happiness. Finally, we get to take a vacation and be happy. But happiness is who we are. So there are things that I do that embody it, to pull forth the state of being that you already are in the moment, and then go throughout your day. How about find security before you get the job? How about find happiness now and then go on vacation? How about find peace before we retire? Because it's all designed for a state of being. Everything that we're doing, that the mind is trying to set up, is for a state of being, as if that state of being is somewhere else. It's right here, right now.
So how do you bring on the state of being before the action? Well, I mean, the way we're taught is, oh yeah, I'm going to go on vacation. I'm going to have fun when we go on vacation, like the anticipation of it. Mm-hmm. But like when you're working, you go into work, how do you bring that peace.
How did you bring in possible scenarios that could go wrong?
Yeah, because we tend to go into our negative mind instead of in our positive mind.
Yeah. How did you do it?
If we had the same power to use our positive, that how we use our negative, things would be so much greater and better. But we try to use every bad scenario. Why don't we use every good scenario to make life great? Or
And that's
embodying
exactly
everything.
what it is.
It was, so when you were talking about the checklist, yesterday when you guys called me, I was watching a movie called The Materialist, and we were just talking about the checklist. They're not thinking about the heart. They're thinking about, oh, he's 5'5", or not 5'7". He's 6 foot or 6'5", and he is a millionaire, and this is that. He's all this perfect. He fits the checklist. Well, that didn't end up being a good partner for this person. This person ended up being a terrible person who ended up raping this person. It was terrible. It was a terrible situation. But the whole moral of the thing is, well, we have a checklist that we need to go by. You fit the criteria. You're supposed to be that person. Mm-hmm. And for her, she met this millionaire guy. And then there's another guy who's poor, but he doesn't have anything figured out. But he loves. It was all about the heart. Mm-hmm. Those things did not matter if he was rich or tall or whatever. But we tend to go by that checklist, just like you were saying about, we tend to think about the bad scenarios instead of being like, no, I am going to be happy. No, I am going to be this and that. But we don't.
How about finding self-love before we try to find the physical love?
Exactly.
And then embody the person that matches it frequency-wise. That's what it's about. So if she can find self-love, the character in the movie, and then go out, they're going to match somebody that that would never meet the criteria of the checklist. Because what do we know? We don't know what's spiritually best. We think we know what's best, but we really don't. So we sit here and we limit ourselves by paying attention. We're going down this divine river, right? And we're going in flow. And the divine river knows exactly where we need to go. It knows. If you are out of the way, out of the mind, in the heart, and in a divine current, it's carrying you where you need to go. But what we do is we put things ahead of it, thinking we know what's spiritually best. So we narrow ourselves to a certain thing, and they're all just boulders in a divine river because we're really pinpointing a certain door that we need to go through. Meanwhile, there's an infinite amount of doors we can go through. How could we possibly know the truth? Because we're so far in the mind consciousness that we can't remember the truth. We have to have trust, and we have to move into an unknown reality, and there's ways of doing that, and trust in that we are guided. Trust in that the hand of the divine is guiding us. But everybody likes the idea of moving into an unknown reality, but we're constantly always trying to bring the old self with us. So that's what I would say to that particular story. And as far as how do we create that scenario for ourselves, it's like we do the same thing that we were doing when we were working on creating the possible scenarios of what could go wrong. We actually come into the moment of now. It doesn't matter how we get to a frequency. You just got to get to it. The mind doesn't know the difference between what we're imagining and what has actually happened physically, what has fully manifested already. It doesn't know. So if we let the mind take over, it's usually going to carry us in the current of limitation and fear and doubt. But if we let the heart take over, it'll want to embody the truth. It's very simple. If you want to know if you're in the mind, you're loud. Everything's loud. It's busy. It's loud. If you want to know if you're in the heart, everything is easy. Like a single word is easy. It only takes one word to get you to the sun. But the mind wants to try to hang on to all the rays of light to get to the sun, and it complicates it. The heart says just take one and follow it all the way to the sun. It's simple. So that's how we do it. I mean, it's just, we can embody it, embody the truth by imagining what we like, what feels good. It doesn't matter how we get there. And I have all kinds of processes that I go through with people that simplify this process. So right now we're just talking about it. But as we go along, we will learn these processes. And if we do the 45-day retreat, I'm going to introduce a lot of those things.
So would you say it's like the feeling is a really big important key to the embodiment? Feeling what you are after? Having that feeling before even anything that would present itself physically?
Right. Getting yourself to the state of being of truth. We all love joy. Do we not? Truth. We all love happiness. Do we not? Truth. What about love?
I feel like sometimes people don't even know what those three things are.
In different aspects we do. We know limiting love, but we speak of unconditional love. I have unconditional love for somebody or something, and like you might say with your partner or your husband or your wife, I have unconditional love for them. What if he cheated on you? That's conditional. Because then all of a sudden you're not so happy with them, and then you get a divorce.
I think you talk through things and you figure those things out. It's not just one person's side. I don't think like if someone cheated on you, like it's just, oh well, he cheated, let's get a divorce. I think there's a conversation that needs to be taken, and it's not just one-sided, it's two-sided,
Yeah, I mean, and there are many scenarios I can use. I just happen to use that one because that happens a lot.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And the love is conditional. Because if the love is unconditional, that means I love you constantly in every moment, no matter what you are doing. There isn't a blip in it. There's not a like, oh.
I think the best example would be your son, for example. Your son or your brother or sister. Mm-hmm. I 100% believe like I have unconditional love for my siblings. Maybe not for my husband. I'm just kidding.
But is it unconditional? There are conditions where and I mean, I'm not going to dig in deep and find a condition because it would have to be pretty bad for you not to love your child.
100.
But your child is the closest we can come to unconditional love. But it can't even grasp a fingernail of what the divine's love is for us. Now, I had the experience, and I wasn't planning on talking about my experience that shifted me into another reality after all the vibrational work that went through. It brought me to a place to where I felt like a geyser, basically, at the top of my head, and I felt like this massive amounts of energy were just pushing on the crown of my head, and it was just waiting, and it was almost painful at the top of my head, like it was ready to release. So I put myself in a situation where I was meditating with 1,500 people to help me relieve this, put myself in a powerful situation. And when it relieved, this is another story. I'm going to make this real short, and we can get into that later about that experience, because there's a lot that comes from it after that, because all these gifts started coming in after this experience. But that evening, after I was in such high connection, it didn't go anywhere. I just stayed in the state of being. Like, it just moved me into such a different reality, such a beautiful reality. And every day I make offerings to a shrine, and I have all these different kinds of deities on the shrine and all different traditions and religions, because I'm doing everything I can to knock the walls down of tradition, of spirituality. And so any saint or guru or deity that show itself to me in some kind of a morti, a statue, or a picture, I would put in my shrine, and I make offerings to it every day. I have like 20 things at my shrine now. and maybe more, that I do offer a little light to it. Don't make a big ordeal about it. And I did it every day. And so when I went to this event, I don't take my shrine with me. So then that evening, I would make the offerings through my spiritual eye. I would just do it in my mind's eye. And as I started that process, I went into it was like I died. It was like I died without dying. I went to a very high heavenly reality. And it was unbelievable because each person, every deity or who had on my shrine, as I said their name, they would appear to me in full manifestation. And yes, it was the full physical manifestation of these deities. And the presence was so powerful and the love for them was so grand that there's a point where we just lose the words to describe anything. So that's where I'm at. I mean, it's so far, there's no way I can even exaggerate this because I don't have the words to exaggerate the truth. But what I got out of it is as each one of these like 20 beings that showed up, as each one showed up, the reverence they had for me, I couldn't even match it. Although I'm thinking I'm just have this reverence for them doing these offerings and stuff, I couldn't even. The reverence, I could not match it. And that reverence they had for me, they have for each and every one of us. And that is unconditional love. There would be no blimp in the reverence they had for me. There's no getting mad. There's never a point I can ever feel that they would ever be upset. It's in a full acceptance. Never worried. Always loving. It's just, the words are undescribable. We, as in the physical bodies, have forgotten this. But like you said, the closest we can come is for our child. But that's not even remotely close. It can't even hold a candle to it. Because there is no getting mad. There is no punishments or anything. It's just pure acceptance of our path. And there is no wrong way to do it.
Wow, it's beautiful.
We got any other questions?
I think we're good.
I'm really excited about our first podcast and grateful to you guys for being here and speaking on this really deep subjects. I love to go deep into these subjects, so I'm looking forward to doing more.
Well, we're going to do a lot of podcasts here, and hopefully they get going because there are messages that I have been giving out for a while that have been coming through me, and there are also healing practices that I have, and it mostly comes down to healing the emotional body. Because if we heal the emotional body, that it'll heal the physical body with it. And I'm excited to start getting this stuff out. The meditations are wonderful, and I enjoy doing them. I started doing them for me, but then I knew I had to start incorporating vibration for the people. Other than just keeping it to myself, because I understood that the vibration is very important to get out there to move us into a new timeline. And that's something I would like to talk about in future podcasts, because right now it's a very important time in our life to where we are being brought into another timeline, into another. A lot of people call it New Earth. I don't know what I want to label it right now, but just saying that we're currently in a shift in our world. And although it might look very disruptive and chaotic, but we got to remember the oil has to come to the surface in order to be skimmed off. And that's basically where we are. And we want to make sure that we're getting into the right timeline. And there's a lot of processes of removing the fear and doubt. And I'm talking about to the smallest details. This is going to be some new kind of ways of looking at it, because I'm talking about the small threads of fear that we don't think about, like protecting ourselves, Like protecting ourselves energetically has been something that we've been doing for years, and it has served us in the reality that we are. But in the reality that we're moving into, protection is a form of fear. In order to think that we have to protect ourselves, we have to be afraid of something or know something out there can be harmful. So, yes, I mean, I'm not saying just tear down the walls and unlock your doors and just throw ourselves into the pot. I'm saying that we're eventually, in this moment, in this time of our lives, we have to start weeding out all those littler aspects of fear that we don't think about. And the more we move that fear out, the more safe we are, because we're putting in ourselves in a frequency of safety where we're matching love, where our frequency in our body, when we start to heal it, we'll start matching in the frequencies of safeness. So those harmful frequencies can't make it to us if we're in our light. Nothing touches the light. The light is the truth. And in reality, that's all there is. The darkness is the illusion. If you took a single candle and you lit it in a dark room, what happens?
It lights up everything.
Yeah, except for the shadows. The darkness hides in the shadows. The light, one person becoming a being of light, or remembering that you're light, it is like worth 1,000,000 that aren't. It lights up a whole room. We think that we can't do something on our own. But the reality is, one person going through the process of this emotional healing and healing the emotional body and coming into their light body is worth 1,000,000 that aren't easily. And it does so much. And we're always worried about helping others. But what we need to be doing is focusing on our own healing so that we can actually do something. So we can actually put that light out. It's not about going around knocking on windows and saying, do what I'm doing. It's about beingness. It's about beingness, being the good news. And I'm looking forward to many podcasts because I'm ready to get the word out there of some different ways of looking at things, and helping people shift to this new timeline that's going to get us into this new world, this new energetic state, and a state of equanimity, a state of peace where it's not fluctuating up and down. It's calmness. It's beautiful, and it feels good. Every day you wake up, you feel good. You wake up, you feel good, and you're not earning it. You're not trying to feel good. You don't have to do anything. You just wake up and you feel good. Well,
you're on vacation every day.
Every day. And when you're sleeping, you feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, too, people are feeling that shift. Like, there's something, like, that is shifting. And we can't, like, grab it. A lot of people can't grab it, but we feel it. Like, I feel like everybody's feeling that. Like, there's a big shift.
There is a big shift. There's more light in the world right now than there's ever been. And we'll talk about that like I'm sitting here acting like I know. But there is a feeling of the consciousness awaken more. And if the consciousness in people wakes up more, that means the consciousness of the world wakes up more. And the consciousness of the earth is waking up more. And then if it starts to go through its process of healing, that means it's taking the bodies on it with it.
For sure.
It's just think about it as your own body. Look at your own body. Your own body is its own world. It's its own universe. Your body of Sergio and Luisa. And
No.
it's like in and in the body there's all these cells. And they're going around just doing their cell thing, whatever their duties are. In the liver, it's different than the stomach. You can't do the same function in the stomach as you can in the liver. You can't put the same things in it. You would probably die. And it is really kind of up to Luisa or the Sergio consciousness to direct what's going to happen to the rest of the body. If you're going to stuff yourself full of fast food that day, well, guess what? The rest of the body has to ingest that, and it has to do with what you give it. If you're going to talk yourself into a bad mood every day, guess what? The body has to ingest that. It has to do what you're sending the message to. So in a way, you're in control of your own consciousness, and all the cells have to go with it. right? So if we feed it with good, healthy food and positive, and pummel it with positivity, then we will obviously carry ourselves a lot further. Now, if the earth decides it's going to go through its own purification process, it's the same thing. It's going to ingest the energies that it needs to do, and then and all the cells on it will have to come with it.
Like self-purging.
Yeah, and so we're going to see it like when the earth has a purge, it looks a lot different. Could be a volcano going off, or something that we would see as tragic, but the oil has to come to the surface in order for it to be skimmed off, like I said earlier.
Totally.
But it's just about how we're going to look at what's going to happen, and let's put ourselves in the right timeline so that we can, be able to see the truth in everything. And it's important right now in our life to find this purification process and into the right timeline to where it's going to lead us to this higher dimension, this higher frequency of love and light.
I think that's the hardest part, right? Seeing the when we have to purge it out and you're like having to see your true colors. People don't want to see that, but that's actually the most beautiful part of it.
It is.
And so I think that, just speaking from my experience of my journey, I think that even going through seeing my fears, it seemed so scary. But then after I faced them and they came out in the surface, I was like, no, this is good. This is all good stuff, and we tend to look at it so negatively about it. So I think that that's something that we need to just keep in mind for sure.
Yeah, and both of them have went through massive purging of something big in our little workshops that we do. Sergio's been going through it with me for years. Like he would sit in there with his
I didn't believe it. I didn't know what are you talking about? Flirting, like you want to vomit. What? And then it happened to me, and I was like,
it wasn't physical vomit, just to let you know.
Yeah, it's like energetic purge.
And it could be through crying, and it could be actually through laughter. Our rooms, many times when we do the group meditations, break out in just pure joy because so many people release, and it comes to a point of just this energy gets to come in. This divine energy fills the room because we've really brought ourselves up in frequency as a collective, as a community. When the community of the room was all in coherence and heart coherence, and we all were purging out, and we brought ourselves to a certain frequency, we make it to a certain joy frequency, then everybody starts to connect to it just a little, and when everybody connects it to a little, it's like, we're all like, whoa, what's this? And then we move up a little higher, and then we move up a little higher, and then all of a sudden, pure joy. I'm not talking superficial joy. It was pure joy, right?
Yeah, it's like the heaven came in the room.
Yeah, and everybody is just laughing. And this is the possibilities of a communities that we could have if we do what's required of us. Not required of us because we don't have to do any of it. We can stay in suffering if we want, but we do have to change the way that we're looking at it. That's what's comfortable.
Yeah.
But we don't realize it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable at all.
Well, there has to be a willingness too. And then from what I've noticed too is whenever I had one of these harmonizations of these densities in the body or whatever we want to call it, there was always a massive state after it, like a high state of being after it. So, those things are there to really help us evolve and reach higher states in reality.
They are.
But we look at them in such a, we don't want to look at it. I mean, we're afraid of it in a way.
Well, we're taught to be
It's
ashamed
easier.
of it.
Yeah.
We're taught to be ashamed of it. We're taught to shove it down. I often heard, and boys don't cry, we don't cry. And so the guys are a little more shoved off from showing emotion than women are, and women are very emotional. I was about to say over emotional, but they're very emotional. And then guys are taught not to be emotional, so there's a disconnect between men and women.
And when a guy is emotional, it's like, why is he being so emotional? Because we're not used to it, you know?
What I would love to see, and what I'm going to do everything possibly to make my life feel like I'm actually offering something, because life is an offering. It's not about taking, it's an offering. My life is an offering. And my offering is to help people to harmonize the emotional body and make emotion normalized. Because I firsthand have gone through the process. I'm not just talking from a process that I read about and presented it as my own. It was presented to me through all the strong practices I had in my life. And I really, the one thing I have is I'm very proud of is perseverance and willingness. I never really give up on things. And the spiritual path was such a strong pull for me, and I had a lot of really beautiful things present itself to me in a very young life. Like I would call them angels and all these other things, but in reality, I don't really know what they are. But I'd have to label it to whatever I thought it would be at the time. So that really held me to a path because I got to see these things constantly. And I said, I know once I start hitting higher states, that I know that there's a certain point where I wouldn't turn back, and it became very one-pointed. And because of this, I got to have this, these stabilized states of being, and I would love, as my offering, to help others become the light body. And I know there's so much more work for me to do, and I use the word work, but it's I enjoy it, and this is to make it like not work, is to make it like, what else would I want to do? The spiritual path shouldn't feel so easy. It's not all woo woo, because if we're doing this right, if we're doing this to really move somewhere, we gotta start moving these dense energies, and those are going to be felt. I also have processes to help us with that's important for us to not personalize them as they are moving in the body. As they're moving into the light, we're going to feel them as if, I am angry or something like that. But it's just to get to this process, as there's a lot for people to know, So I'm excited about presenting all this to everybody, and
to also be incorporating, Sergio's teachings. And we have Montana, she's not with us today, but her herbalism, and incorporating all these great talented people and coming into one, because we know that that's how it should be. It should be a community.
Right, and that's the ideal for me, is to have this community, but I've been looking at for a lot, not a community like we're some kind of a cult or something. It's actually a community like that I don't even know what it looks like, but I know that we're going to start seeing pockets of community that are like more like heart communities, where there's nobody ahead of anybody. There's nobody better than anybody. I'm not in the lead of anything. I'm just here speaking from a reality. Like if I was if it's not speaking of a reality that I read about or once had a glimpse of or had an experience of, I'm just speaking of what's happening within me. It's like sitting in a bathtub, a warm bath, bubble bath, and describing the bubble bath while you're in it. And just talking about it. And you're just talking about it. You know it's the truth because you're sitting in it. Mm-hmm. And versus on the outside of the bathtub that you've never been into, that you read about that water and you read about what's going on in that bathtub, and then you're presenting it as yours because you're very educated on it. Or you can present it as I'm in the bathtub, living in the water. I live in the water and I just speak. That's it. You know, and some people might get in the bathtub one time in their life, very brief. And that's what we call experience. An experience is a glimpse of a reality. And then we come out of the bathtub and we don't know how to get back in the bathtub. But we talk about it because we had an experience of it. That one time. But then the more we talk about it and the further we get away from the experience, the more that story changes. But when we're in the bathtub consistently and just speaking about the reality, then you don't have to knock on a door. It's just, you can feel somebody when they're in a reality. You can feel the truth. This is true. There's just some kind of draw to it. And when somebody speaks from the truth, from experience in a reality, living in a reality, they don't have to do anything. It's a natural draw. You know, that's where the community needs a stable community like that, where we can just feel the truth. We can just feel it within each other, and we're all just helping each other. Like maybe there's a roofer here and needs a roof, and somebody needs a roof and somebody needs a gardener, and they just help each other.
The perfect example was today, right? Putting this together.
Yeah.
And how it got a little frustrating, but we worked together as a team, and one was like, oh, let me do this and let me do that. Well, let's, figure it out. But we figure it out together, and I think that no one was like, oh, well, I'm better than you because I figured it out. No one said that. Like, we all came into, we have one destination, and that was to make this happen today.
To make this happen.
Yeah.
And this is our first podcast, and we're going to be very proud of it in this little room, because it was like my first meditation that I made. It was I go back and I laugh at it, and it's such a rinky-dink meditation. But I'm so proud of it, and it's almost sweet. It's a very sweet meditation because I didn't know how to do anything. And but I go back and it's very sweet, and it's going to be important, and this is important, Like this is our first one. This is the first time I'm on. This is the first. Say we have to think about that stuff. It's the first time for me to be on screen too, and put my face out there, and I'm very excited about where this goes.
And the first step was doing it. So.
Yeah.
Here we are. It took us a while to get you on screen, but we made it happen, and really excited about what comes out of it.
Yeah. So we'll see if you see me or not in this podcast, whether it made it.
I think it'll make it. It's gonna make it. What can you share? Maybe like your website or
I have a
meditations?
website. I do one-on-ones on there at this time at MalaniMeditation.com. And
just go through that whole website. It has such beautiful insights. He also has some beautiful things that he's written. So please take a time and really look at it. And we've put a lot of heart and hard work in it. Heart. Not hard.
Hard work into it.
Heart work.
I love
into
that.
It.
Yeah.
And hey, man, we have to talk about the heart on the next podcast, because this is the foundation. This is the foundation. So we'll get to that, and also there's more to come on that webpage. It's pretty new, and we're going to have a forum, and we're going to have a community. The 45-day online retreat starting in January 1st. And we're going to do a trial one with us first and see if we can get the kinks out. But it's just basically to establish these practices to help us shift the reality in 45 days. So there's a lot. We're in lifetimes of this suffering with the human body, and all this suffering that we've been self-inflicting on ourselves, the emotional suffering. So it's it's a lot we have to that we would don't have to. But there's a lot we would put into a 45-day retreat to see how much we can shift into another reality. How high we can shift. It's going to take what we put into it, but anyways, yeah, I'm excited about it.
Beautiful.
I'm also excited to hear Sergio's stories. His stories are really awesome and insightful, and just between these two have had such like great stories to share. So I can't wait to hear.
No, I look forward to telling some of these amazing stories, and yeah, I mean, I've been blessed to work with Malani for all these years, and I can honestly say I've seen like hundreds of miracles, like hundreds of them. And there's just like one after another, where you're just like, you almost start to get used to it. But, there's always like a gratitude towards it, But, yeah, I'm just really grateful. So thank you, Luisa and Malani.
And I'm grateful, too, because otherwise, what's the point of having certain gifts if nobody wants to be around me? Anyways.
Well,
here we go.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
today, and
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, and for making this happen. Finally.
Thank
Namaste.
you. Namaste.
Namaste.